सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। थर्ड मंत्र। असुर्या नाम ते लोकाः अन्धेन तमसावृताः तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये के चात्महनो जनाः। The avidwan, the one who does not know Atma Swarupa or does not make an attempt to know Atma Swarupa, that avidwan, and such people who are avidwan, ignorant about Atma Swarupa, they only gain abhigachanti, they only gain those ends, those lokas, those janma, those type of birth, those type of places, and those sharira, etc. Bhashyakara points out that loka sharirani, he pointed out. Janmani, pointed out that janma, that means sharira also. So they gain only that, meaning they remain in samsara only, do not discover freedom, moksha. Okay. So Bhashyakara said, te lokaha karma phalani. Loka means karma phalani here. And further he explains the word loka, lokyante, drishyante. We have the word avalokanam. Avalokanam means to see. So lok also means to see. Drishyate, drishyante, meaning bhujyante or enjoyed, experienced. Iti janmani. Lokaha means janmani, births. Alright. And what are those lokas like? What is their swarupa of those lokas? Andena tamasa avritaha. That Bhashyakara explains. Andena adarshana atmakena ajnanena tamasa avritaha achaditaha. Those lokas are covered by tamas, darkness, which is like andha, blinding. Andena means adarshana atmakena. Atmaka in the form of the nature of Adarshana, not knowing, not seeing. Darshana is knowing, seeing. Adarshana, not knowing, not understanding, not seeing, not owning. Andhena, adarshana atmakena. And what is it that? Ajnanena, ignorance. Makes it clear. Ajnanena. Not the physical darkness, but it is the, in a figurative sense, it is used under tamas, etc. in the figurative sense. So, ajnanena, tamasa, the darkness called ajnana. Avritaha, covered. Achaditaha, totally covered. Like a blanket covers, right? And then a thick blanket, suppose it covers some person or something, then nothing inside, what is inside, nothing is seen. So like that, achadita, blanketed by this thick covering of ajnana, ignorance. Okay. That is the nature of that lokas. In those lokas, there will be pursuit only for bhoga only. Pleasures, more pleasures, better pleasures, repeated pleasures. Only pleasure seeking, etc. will be there. And where there is only pleasure seeking, there will be pain also. Unsought pain will be there. Okay? Pleasure is sought, but pain will come, will be there. There is no pleasure which is purely pleasurable, 100% pure pleasure. It is not there in the samsara. It's always mixed with some pain, some suffering, some dukkha. It's always there. Dukkha mishra is always there. Any sukha, samsarika sukha. A pleasure, a joy which is within the realm of samsara, samsarika sukha is always dukkha mishrita, always mixed with dukkha, always. At the time of experiencing, there will be some lesha, some tinge, some little bit of dukkha, etc. will be there. To earn that will be dukkham, to retain that will be dukkham, right? Aye dukkham, yaye dukkham, etc. is there. Arjane dukkham, all it is mentioned about dhanam. Similarly, all these pleasures, there is always something attached to that. There is some dukkha will be there. There is no, there is only this pursuit will be there. Pursuit of pleasures, etc. will be there. There is no higher pursuit looking into what is the true nature of oneself and the world. That higher pursuits will not be there. Thereby leading to the inevitable suffering will be there, smallness will be there, samsara will be there. That is the point. Okay. So, andena tamasa avritaha. These are the lokas, these are the janmas that they get. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Asurin yoni mapannaha mudaha janma janmani, etc. He says, janma janmani, birth after birth, right? They take to asuri yoni, a types of birth which are merely for the sake of indulgence only. Indulgence, they think they are going to get pleasure, but then they end up getting pain also, sorrow. That's the asurim yoni mapannaha mudaha janma janmani aprapya mam, etc. Bhagavan says. So therefore, Asuri yoni means here, Asurim yoni mapannaha. Here it says Asuryaha lokaha. There Krishna refers this Asurim yonim, yoni here janma, right? Asuri, the word, same word. Here Asurya, there Asuri, belonging to Asura. Asurim yoni mapannaha, etc. So, Bhashyakara explains further the mantra, Tan ste pretyabhigachanti, etc. Bhashya, Tan Stavarantan Pretya Tyaktva Imam Deham Abhigachanti Yatha Karma Yatha Shrutam. In the earlier editions of this prints, Gita Press book, they used to give the word occurring in the Moolam, in the original text, like the Upanishad word and all, in smaller type, and then the Bhashya explanation will be in bigger type. Now in the later edition they have given up that. It was very easy to spot which word is the Moolam and which is the explanation. It was easy to spot. So now it's all in one same type they have written. For sake of simplicity they have written. Any reprint etc. should be an improvement. Okay. Unfortunately in India many of the reprints and etc. they undo that. Any plus points they undo that. Very unfortunate. Okay. Tan, those lokas, what are those Bhashyakara points out? Sthavara Antan, up to, Anta, up to, ending up to Sthavara, plant kingdom. They keep staying in one place. There are plant things which belong to plant kingdom which are moving like algae etc. No, they float. But here mostly plant kingdom stays put in one place. Where the root is, it stays put. Therefore, sta to stand. Okay, and the word the affix varach means of the nature of standing, of the nature of being immovable. Sta vara, like Ish vara. Okay, one who has the nature of Ish, to Lord, to rule. So here sta vara, standing in one place, the immovable plant kingdom, Sthavarantan, up to Sthavara. Sthavarantan, up to Sthavara. Right. So Bhashyakara hints that it is not necessarily that they will be born as human beings. They may be born as anything else also. Sthavara Antan, up to plant etc. they may take to this birth. And Sthavara etc. the Asuri Yoni, as in the Gita, as it occurs in the Gita. Bhagavan also say Mudha Yoni, etc. Right? In those types of births, compared to the human, from the standpoint of the human being, from the human beings, the mind of the human being, from that standpoint, we see them there's a lot more suffering is there. A plant is subject to lot of suffering. Has to stay in the whatever rain is there, sun is there, heat is there, cold is there. The poor thing has to stand all that. Has to stand. We are able to run away from the heat or the hot rays of sun. We go to shade. But what will the poor plant do? Has no go but to stand in the sun, heat, etc. Snowfall, rain, etc. It has to stand. And then at the mercy of all the force of nature, right? Even though plant also is part of nature, but it's still subject to the forces, the mercy of nature it is. And then anybody may cut that plant, right? It may just be about to flower and give fruit. At that time, one fellow, somebody may cut it, kill the plant. Poor thing. And then it cannot refuse, cannot push away anything that comes to it. Any creature, any insect, it cannot push away. Right? Helpless. Lot of suffering is there. Even though the plant doesn't have a mouth, doesn't have the word say, oh I am suffering, it doesn't have, it can't say, but then we as with a better upadhi, we being more powerful, we have compassion towards those guys. More power means more compassion towards the less powerful. More fortunate means compassionate towards less fortunate. Healthy means more compassionate towards unhealthy. Rich means should more compassionate toward the poor. That's the meaning of being rich and powerful and healthy and etc. That's what it's about. That's from our standpoint, the human being standpoint. So we look upon them as with compassion because they are subject to lot of suffering and they can't tell also. Suppose we undergo some suffering, even though there is no way out, we just talk it out and let the steam out, let the pressure out. So I undergo this much. There is so much pain here. I am taking medicine. It's not curing. We just talk our pressure out. Let steam. Let the pressure out. But poor plants, etc. What can they say? They just have to undergo the trials and tribulations, all the suffering they have to undergo. Therefore, as human being, we are sensitive towards that. Therefore, Īśāvāsya Aho Kashtam. It is not here a ninda here, not just a ninda here. We take pity on them, which people need not, jivas need not suffer this, but for ignorance, right? Because of ignorance, they undergo all this suffering, all this variety of pain, here and hereafter. Therefore, anukampa. Anukampa means there is compassion towards the less fortunate, towards the suffering, in pain, etc. So, Sthavarantan, they tan gachanti, abhigachanti. Then when do they gain that? Mantra says pretya. Pra plus E plus lyap. Have you seen the pratyaya lyap, etc.? Lyap. Tva and lyap. Gatva. So, tva, no, gatva, patitva, drishtva, etc. Tva is there. Tva is a affix. Having done. Drishtva means having seen. Drish to see. Drishtva means having seen. Gam to go. Gatva means having gone. Pat to read. Patitva having read. Okay. So that is the tva pratyaya. Having meaning having done this, having been that, etc. And the tva is substituted by lyap. One ya pratyaya lyap. When there is a prefix. If there is no prefix, it will be tva, drishtva. Okay, drishtva, gatva will be there. But if there is a prefix, before, then lyap is substituted. So here pra-i is the dhatu, pra-i, and then instead of tva, there is lyap. Pretya, pra-itya, having gone, okay, having left. Pra-itya, having left this. In Hindi and in Sanskrit, the word never won. Many of the Indian languages, preta, the word preta is there. Pra-ita, one who has left and gone, that's a preta. So pretya means having left this sharira, pretya. Therefore Bhashyakara says, tyaktva imam shariram, imam deham tyaktva. Having left this body, moves on to the other subsequent body, the janma, what the jiva has to take to the person, the jiva leaves this body and goes. Of course, does not go empty-handed, goes with the baggage, right? This is a baggage, Mr. Baggage wala. Okay, this fellow is a baggage man, okay? Mr. Baggage. Punya, papa, baggage is karma, baggage is always there. Invisible but very heavy. Very big burden. Not visible but burdensome is there. So this fellow goes with the bag and baggage. Only the physical body the fellow leaves aside and then the fellow moves on to next birth. But then which birth the jiva will take next? Is it random or is it in keeping with some order? Is it because of some consequence? In some order, is it? So Bhashyakara says, Yatha karma, yatha shrutam. This phrase occurs in the Kathopanishad. We have seen Kathopanishad? Yeah. No. So there is this mantra is there. Yoni manye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinaha sthanu manyena samyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. This phrase occurs. What do you say? What do you start with? Yoni manye prapadyante. Anye jiva sharirattvaya dehinaha. The dehis, the embodied jivas, they anye, the yonim anye prapadyante. Some jivas gain some types of birth, different types of births. And some sthanum anye anusamyanti. Sthanu means sthavara. Again the stha root is there. Stha to stand. Sthanu means sthavara, meaning plant kingdom, etc. Some jivas take to the plant to birth. They come up as the plants in this next janma. And according to what, some go to Devaloka, some become Manushya, some animal and some plant. Which governs this? So the mantra says, Yatha karma, yatha shrutam. In keeping with one's actions, external activity, bahya karma, right, which one does with one's body and words, etc., which is visible. These actions are visible, right? Visible for one and visible for others also. Suppose I walk, I talk, this is visible, perceivable for others. So that is the yatha karma. And not only that, the jiva also does a manasam karma, mental karma also is there. So that is not visible to anybody else. But it is evident to the person who does this manasam karma. Meditation, japa, etc. These are all manasa karma. There is two meditation. One is Ishvara Dhyanam, other is Vishaya Dhyanam is there. Go on thinking about Vishayas alone, objects alone, enjoyments alone, right? Pleasures alone, plan for them all the time. There is the Vishaya Dhyanam also is there. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, etc. He says, Vishaya Dhyanam all the time, thinking about Vishaya only. There are some people, they will think about the next meal, right? Breakfast time, they will think about lunch mein kya hai, what is there for lunch. Lunch time, what is there for dinner. Dinner time, what is there for tomorrow breakfast. All the time dwelling on the food alone. Like that Vishaya Dhyanam all the time. So, that is also a Dhyanam. But of course that's not a releasing Dhyanam, but a binding Dhyanam. Dhyana which binds, which is samsara only. Therefore, Yatha Shrutam refers to in keeping with one's mental life, mental activities such as meditation, etc. Right? Dwelling on what things the Jiva spends one's life. So, Yatha Karma, Yatha Shrutam, in keeping with the activities, in keeping with one's own thought life, okay? Not only action life, there is a thought life also. Yatha Karma, Yatha Shrutam. In keeping with that, the karma and the upasana and the meditation, etc., they attract their own known and unknown results, seen and unseen results, drishta, adrishta, phalam, and in keeping with that, and all that accumulates the sanchita, and a part of that sanchita, according to that karma order, a part of the sanchita manifests as the prarabdha, right? Prarabdha is only a part of sanchita manifesting, and whatever prarabdha comes to fructification, in keeping with that prarabdha, the jiva takes to that janma, that shariram. Therefore, yatha karma, yatha shrutam, Bhashyakara points out, this is not at random, not the whim of the Lord, but it is in keeping with the karma. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam, sthanum anye abhigachanti, stavarantan abhigachanti. Okay. Who are those people? Bhashyakara continues with the explanation of mantra. Ekecha Atmahanaha. Who are these Atmahanaha? In our Gita Press book, this is missing. This line is missing. Ekecha Atmahanaha is missing. No, Kete Janaha is there. Ekecha Atmahanaha, this is, I don't see that. It is not there in my book. Yeah, Gita Press, it is missing. I think it should be there. This is the usual style, no? Bhashyakara would take the words from the mantra first, usually, or the word or words he will take and then explain. So here he is taking the word Ekecha Atmahanaha, those who are killers of oneself, Atmahanaha, those who destroy Atma. And what is the meaning of Atmahanaha? Bhashyakara explains. Atmanam gnanti iti Atmahanaha. In our book it's spelled as Hanaha. Hanaha is mistake. Hanaha, the short vowel only. It's printed as a long vowel. It's a mistake. Atmahanaha only. Singular will be Atmaha, long ha, and then Atmahanau, Atmahanaha. That's the correct word. The printing mistake. What is the meaning of Atmahanaha? Bhashyakara says Atmanam gnanti. The word gnanti, the verb comes from handatu. Hanti, gnataha, gnanti. Like bhavati, bhavataha, bhavanti. Bhavanti is the plural form. Similarly, hanti, gnataha, and then gnanti is the plural form. Hanti, hataha, gnanti. Hanti, hataha, gnanti. Those who kill Atma, Atmanam gnanti. Who are those who kill Atma? Bhashyakara explains. Kete janaha. Who are those people? He takes the word janaha. Kete jana. Who are those people? Who are those jivas? Explains. Ye avidvamsaha. Ignorant jivas. Avidvan singular, avidvamsaha plural. Ye avidvamsaha, the ignorant ones. Now, Bhashyakara asked this question, how do they kill Atma? Does it mean that they catch hold of Atma by the neck and then stab in the heart of the Atma? Or they are Atma, they commit suicide? What is it that killing? Bhashyakara asked the question. Katham te Atmanam Nityam Himsanti. Himsanti. Katham himsanti. How do they himsam kurvanti? To do himsa. So hims, Bhashyakara explained. Himsanti. Katham himsanti. How do they hurt Atma? What is the problem, sir? Why can't they hurt Atma? Bhashyakara says, Nityam Atmanam. Atma which is Nitya. Anitya if something, then Himsa is possible of that. But Atma is Nitya, right? And then Bhashyakara by saying Nitya, he reminds us all that. Nityo, Nityanam, etc. in the Katopanish mantra is there. And then we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Na jayate, mriyate, etc. is there. Na hanyate, hanyamane, sharire is there. Atma is cannot be hurt. It cannot be killed. Then katham de himsanti. How do they hurt Atma? Atma being Nitya. Nityam Atmanam points out the impossibility of hurting Atma by saying, pointing at it, Nityam. Nityam Atmanam katham te hanti. How is it that they hurt this Atma which is Nitya? So here, it is not a literal sense. It is not a literally killing, literally hurting Atma, in a figurative sense. That he explains here, Bhashyakara. Avidya doshena vidyamanasya atmanaha tiraskaranaat. Tiraskarana, the rejecting that, discarding. Tiraskarana also it means by keeping it covered. Tiraskara means rejecting. Tiraskar kiya, rejected it, did not accept it, did not take it. Tiraskaranam is one meaning. Other meaning is that covering. Tirahachina is a tiraschina. Sorry. Tiraskarana, keep it covered. Like usually in the drama stage, right, there is a screen, okay? The screen usually moves from side to side, across the screen moves. Sometimes the screen moves from up down also, but usually from one side to the other. This is the across. So when the screen moves across, that is the tiraha. Tiraha means across. When the screen moves across, then the stage is covered. Now there is nothing. Now what happens on stage is not seen. So like that, tiraskarana, across, something which comes in between. That is the concealing, covering. By covering Atma, right? By rejecting Atma or by covering Atma, concealing Atma. Tiraskarana. Kasya tiraskarana, rejection of what? Vidyamanasya, what is there, right? What is already there. Atma is not something which has to be obtained, and Atma being pure, mukta, etc., free, etc., is not to be made into, brought into existence, right? You don't cook up to make Atma into free Atma, right? Atma being Brahma is Nitya Siddha, and therefore Vidyamanasya Atmanaha, Vidyamanasya Atmanaha Tiraskaranaat Himsanti, just by ignorance, avidya doshena, by the defect, great defect, dosha, called avidya. Avidya doshena tiraskaranaat. Kasya, whose tiraskarana what? Vidyamanasya atmanaha tiraskaranaat. Like the 10th man. Okay, like the 10th man. Bhashyakara explains it further. Vidyamanasya atmanaha yat karyam. That he explains further. Phalam ajara amaratvadi samvedana lakshanam tat hatasya iva tirobhutam bhavati iti. He continues. Vidyamanasya atmanaha yat karyam. Not only Atma is Vidyamana, right? Atmanaha karyam also. What is the karyam of Atma? So Bhashyakara first says karyam, and then he explains his own word. Like he uses the word karyam first. And then what is the karyam? Phalam, the result. Result of being Atma. Result of knowing Atma. Owning one's true nature. That is the phalam. The result of jnana. Jnana phalam. Now, earlier he said Vidyamanasya Atmanasya Tiraskaranam. By covering, by rejecting Atma which is there, already Siddha. And what is the covering there? What way it is being covered? So, when I own something, the result of owning is available for me. That is what owning means. Suppose I say, I own this. What do you mean by, what do you mean by I own this? The result, whatever its usefulness, right, is available for me. That is the meaning of owning, right? So, there is no point in saying, I own this, but I am not able to use it. Why? I lost it. Or, somebody else is using it, does not allow me to use it. Then I am not the really owner. I am just one namesake only, right? Its utility, its result, its usefulness is not available to me. So, owning means its use is available, its phalam is available. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, Vidyamana Atma means Vidyamanam phalam is there. What is the Vidyamanam phalam? Nitya Mukta, Nitya Mukti, right? Ever free. That is the Ananda, that is the phalam. And Bhashyakara explains that Ajara Amaratvadi Lakshanam. Amaratvadi Samvedana Lakshanam. Lakshana in the form of Samvedanam, understanding. Vedanam, knowing. Samvedanam, knowing very clearly, understanding, owning. And what is it that? Owning the Atma Swarupa. And what is the Atma Swarupa? Ajara. There is no Jara. Okay? Aging is not there. Jara means aging, old age. Jara means what is subject to aging. Aging means there is a lot more physical pain is there, suffering is there, mental affliction is there. Suppose I grow very old, then nobody listens to me, right? Dadaji, aap chup rahiye, bas. Grandfather, keep quiet. Shut up. Politely, please keep quiet. Usually, shut up. Grandpa, shut up. Granny, shut up. Why granny? Even daddy, shut up. Mummy, shut up also is there. Okay. Even if I want to talk something, there is nobody to listen to. Mera koi nahi sunta hai. Okay. Nobody listens to me. Because I will go on saying my own, when I was 10 years old, 20 years old, I was telling. Where is leisure for all people to listen to all these old stories? Where is leisure? Like, I would like to talk about 1940s, 1930s and all that. People are in 21st century, they are. No? Who has all that? No? You know, jab main chota tha, when I was young, and then I used to earn only 20 rupees per month, but then I could buy gold and all. Then one kilo of rice used to sell for 1 anna, etc. What is the point in telling all these stories nowadays? Where is the leisure for all that? Nobody listens to me. It's a common complaint. Nobody listens. It happens. It's very common. And no more common nowadays. More very pronounced nowadays. Old age. Jara, indicative of lot of mental affliction. In addition to physical problems, health problems, etc., issues, etc., there is a mental affliction also is there. And then, as one grows old, one keeps one's own dear and near, they pass away, right? And then a lot of pain is there. And then the known people list of known people keeps on reducing. Now earlier it was 4, now it is only 2. And later on next year it is only 1. Next year only I am left out. That's all. All the known people are gone. There's a feeling of loneliness is there. So it's all pitiable. You have to take pity, and then try to reach out. I told more powerful means reach out, have compassion towards less powerful. Okay? Healthy means one should have compassion towards the less healthy, etc. Before we reach out, we try to reach out as far as possible. Okay, that is the compassion. All right. Now, and then there is this fear of death also in Jara. Is there Ajara? Whereas Atma, I am really free from all this aging, etc., old age, etc. Because I am ageless, I am timeless. Timeless, therefore ageless. The body ages, yes, but then I do not age. This is the Atma Lakshanam, Ajara. And not only Ajara, Amara. There is no Mara means death, Mr, to die. So Maraha means death, Amara means free from death, freedom from death also. Again, body is subject to death, I am deathless, I am timeless. Therefore, Ajara, Amara, etc. Alright, so Purna, all this Lakshana, Samvedana Lakshana, Bhashyakara says here, this is the phalam of Atma, that is to know Atma Swarupa. Samvedana Lakshanam, that is the phalam. Atma Nitya Suddha, yes, Nitya Mukta, but so what? That I should understand, that I should own my own Swarupa. That is Samvedana Lakshanam, Jnana Phalam. Okay? The Jnana Phalam is the Mukti. That is, what happens to that? That is also, when I do not know Atma, do not understand my Swarupa, then the result of knowing that also is not there for me. Right? The Jnana Phalam, when Jnanam is not there, Jnana Phalam also is not there. That's what Bhashyakara says here. So, Atma Jnanam, Avidvamsa, etc. Ignorant means what? They cannot claim the result of this wisdom of being Atma, being Brahma. They cannot claim because of their own ignorance. Therefore, Atmanam Vidyamanasya Atmane Tiraskara means, Bhashyakara nicely explains, Vidyamanasya Phalasya Tiraskara. Right? The very result of being Atma is not available. Happiness, etc. is not available for that. That is the tragedy. Therefore he says, Vidyamanasya Atmanaha yat karyam tad phalam ajara amaratvadi samvedan lakshanam tad hatasya iva tirobhutam. As it is destroyed, it is destroyed. Hata, it is destroyed. So hatasya iva, as though for a dead person it is not available, right? So when I kill myself, then the result of being me is not available. Therefore, hatasya iva, a dead person cannot enjoy what one owned, right? Wealth, etc., health, cannot enjoy. So hatasya iva tirobhutam, it's covered, it is denied. Tirobhutam bhavati. You look at the choice of words. It is not that it is gone. Tirobhutam, it is covered. Okay, it means covered. Covered means not available now. It is there but not available. Like the 10th man. Okay, it is there but not available because of ignorance. Look at the choice of words. Right? Tirobhutam, just covered. Iti. Tirobhutam bhavati iti. Because of that, they are Atmahanaha. So, further he explained the Avidvamsa. Prakritaha. It should be a separate word. Prakritaha Avidvamsaha. It's better. These two are separate words, it's better. It's printed as Prakrita Vidvamsaha. As one word it is printed. We can take it as one word also. Avidvamsaha who are Prakritaha. So it is better to split the word for easy reading, easy understanding. Prakritaha who are Avidvamsaha. Unrefined. Prakrita, one who is under the Prakriti alone. Under the spell of Prakriti is Prakrita. Crude. That is the meaning of Prakrita. Okay. Prakriti, natural, nature, and then one who is just under the spell of nature alone, that is a Prakrita, a crude person. Here, ignorant person, that's all. What is the crudity here? What is the crudeness here? In spite of being Brahman, one denies oneself being Brahman. That is a, and one takes oneself to be a very, one puts oneself down so low, right? By ignorance, one puts oneself down. Not anybody else does. The ignorant person puts oneself down, reduces oneself to the level of a samsari, a survivor, etc. One is reduced to that. Okay. Like even, suppose there is a king, okay? The king, suppose, does not know that I am the king, I am rich king. Now the fellow goes to become, turns, looks upon, I don't have anything. So I am a beggar. Okay. King reduces oneself to be the level of a beggar, like a miserable person. So too, in spite of being Brahmatma, one reduces oneself to the level of a mere survivor, right? Picking, rag picker, like, okay, picking rags. There are rag pickers. So this fellow, samsari, jiva, goes about picking some here happiness, that happiness, this unpleasant that unpleasant experience, goes about picking all those. So one reduces oneself to a miserable level. Therefore, Prakritaha, Avidvamsaha. Even though that is not their Swarupa, but they, by their own ignorance, they deny themselves of being Divya. They are being Divya, but then they reduce themselves to Prakrita because of ignorance. Prakritaha, Avidvamsaha. Janaha Atmahanaha Uchyante. Uchyante, they are referred to, they are called as Atmahanaha. Tena hi Atmahanana doshena samsaranti. Because of this dosha, this defect, elsewhere it is said, this is a papam, this is a papa, it is said. Not knowing Atma is a papa, it is said. Remaining in ignorance is a papa. Kim papam tena na kritam, it is said. Which papa is not done this fellow? This fellow has done every papa. Meaning, The result of doing every papa, that is samsara, suffering, that is there for this fellow. Therefore, kim papam tena na kritam chorena, by the stealer, by the robber, atma apaharina, one who steals away, atma swarupa, chorena. That quotation goes about very strong. This fellow is a robber, right? He's a stealer, he's a thief. Chorena, by the robber. Atma apahari, takes away Atma. Not takes away Atma, the Atma Swarupa is denied. One denies oneself of that. So that is the kim papam na kritam ten. What papa is not done by this fellow? This fellow is Atma ha, Atma apahari. So Ninda is there. The idea is to not to remain as an avidwan. That is the point. Therefore, Atma hanana doshena, by this defect, samsaranti, they get into samsara, continue in samsara. Like when a fellow gets stuck in a quicksand, right? And the fellow tries to lift oneself out, lift a foot out of it, by the very effort, gets stuck more. Quagmire, like quicksand. The more one tries to take one foot out of it, leg out of it, the more get one's trapped into it. This is samsara, samsaranti. So like a papa, the result of a papa, avidya is compared to a papa, and samsara is compared to, avidya is compared to papa karma. Like a papa karma, the result of papa karma is papa, and that is samsara. So atma hanana doshena samsarantihi. By this very soon dosha, they nitaram samsaranti. Till the person has an inkling of looking into what one is, and then as the person understands, then the person frees oneself, makes oneself free, releases oneself from bandha. Recall in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Atmaiva Atmanaha Bandhuhu, Atmaiva Ripuhu Atmanaha. One is the friend of oneself, one is the well-wisher of oneself, one is the inimical, one is the enemy to oneself. And who is the friend to oneself? One who lifts oneself up by taking to the Shreyo Marga, Punya Karma, etc. That person lifts oneself up. That person is a friend to oneself. And the contrary, one who does not take to this Shreyo Marga or Dharma Marga, that person gets stuck because of one's own choice, one's own action. That person becomes one's own enemy, like one's own enemy. Therefore, because of their ajnana, ignorant people get into more and more trouble, samsara. Okay. This is the point that is made. Atmahanam doshena samsaranti is what is the meaning of andena tamasavrataha tan preti abhigachanti, etc. Okay. This is the third mantra. Now, the fourth mantra, fourth onwards to eighth mantra, they explain Atma Swarupa predominantly, the true nature of Atma. Okay. We just read that mantra number 4. Anejadekam manaso javiyaha nainat deva apnuvan purva marshate tadhavato jnanatyeti tishthate tasmin apo matarishva dadhati. This is the real core of the Upanishad. Mantra number 4 to 8. These 5 mantras form the core of this Upanishad. Here it is, Atma Swarupa is really being unfolded. Okay? And the result of knowing Atma Swarupa also is pointed out. We will continue this. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.